All right, let's jump straight into this explainer. Today, we are unpacking something absolutely dynamic, the future of business in one of the world's fastest growing megacities, Dhaka. We're going to explore 10 highly actionable, totally future-proof business opportunities looking ahead to 2027. Look, if you're an aspiring startup founder trying to figure out where to place your bets and eventually attract those local angel investors and venture capitalists, this is your roadmap. We aren't just talking about opening another traditional retail shop here. No way. We're talking about smart, high-demand solutions that genuinely solve problems. Actually, there's this fantastic quote from Mezgat Joinal Abdin, the founder and CEO of Trade and Investment Bangladesh, that hits the nail right on the head. He says the most successful businesses today are not necessarily those that sell the most products, but those that solve real urban problems efficiently. And honestly, this completely shifts how we need to think about building startups. You don't just want to sell things anymore. You want to solve daily friction. The businesses that are really going to win in Dhaka are the ones actively removing obstacles for its residents. So here is our roadmap for today. We'll quickly cover the shifting landscape, upgrading daily life, health and demographics, sustainable infrastructure, and finally, how to actually execute your growth. Starting off with Section 1, Dhaka's shifting business landscape. Dhaka is an absolute economic powerhouse. We are talking about a population exceeding 20 million people. Just take a second and really think about that scale. Add in this continuous, massive urban expansion, huge technological leaps, and rising disposable incomes, and you'll see that consumer behavior is fundamentally changing. Traditional businesses, they're fiercely competitive right now. To stand out, aspiring founders absolutely have to identify the emerging demands driven by these massive population shifts. Entirely new business sectors are opening up right now that barely even existed a decade ago.
Moving right along to Section 2, upgrading daily urban life.
Let's think about the modern Dhaka lifestyle for a minute. As apartment living continues to expand, we're seeing a massive rise in dual-income households. Time poverty is real, folks. Working professionals simply lack the hours in the day to handle everyday domestic chores. And simultaneously, Dhaka's commercial real estate sector, we're talking office towers, malls, hospitals, is just booming and desperately needs professional maintenance. Which leads us directly to 3 highly actionable solutions designed specifically to give time-poor residents their lives back. First up, smart laundry and dry cleaning chains. Corporate employees and expats need their clothes washed, pressed, and delivered, right? Second, commercial cleaning and facility management to service that booming real estate sector we just talked about. And third, pet care and veterinary centers. With pet ownership rising so rapidly among Dhaka's middle and upper income households, there's a serious, growing demand for grooming, boarding, and quality vet care. Now, if you're sitting there wondering how to actually get started, here's an incredible insider sourcing tip straight from the source material. Say you're launching that smart laundry chain, you don't necessarily have to deal with importing everything yourself. You can actually procure industrial washing and drying equipment directly from local distributors right there in Dhaka's Nawapur and Tajgan industrial areas. They provide the heavy-duty equipment plus the absolutely crucial maintenance support. It's a real game changer for getting off the ground quickly. Let's look at the numbers. Facility management is definitely the most accessible, starting around 25 to 35 lakh BDT. If you have limited initial resources, this is your ideal phased approach. You start small, scale organically through recurring monthly contracts, and then maybe expand later. Smart laundry sits a bit higher at 35 to 40 lakh, largely because of the machinery costs. And then pet care follows at 40 to 50 lakh for specialized vet equipment and retail inventory. All right, Section 3, health, food, and demographics. The problems in this sector are deeply systemic and literally impact everyday life. Dhaka's healthcare industry is expanding rapidly, but that produces hazardous medical waste posing serious environmental risks. At the same time, we're seeing an aging population that's often separated from their working children due to professional commitments or migration. And on the food front, households are incredibly concerned about safety and are actively hunting for reliable, pesticide-free vegetables. So, how do we solve these? First, medical waste management services to help all those new clinics stay compliant. Second, elderly care and assisted living services. Think home nursing, physiotherapy, and personal day-to-day assistance. And third, and I find this one incredibly cool for such a dense city, indoor hydroponic farming. You're producing pesticide-free lettuce, cherry tomatoes, and herbs right inside the urban grid using nutrient-rich water systems in controlled, space-efficient greenhouses. Now, what's really fascinating here is the operational rigor required for something like medical waste management. It's not just picking up the trash. It is a strict 5-step regulatory flow, collection, specialized transportation, segregation, treatment, and finally, safe disposal. Yes, it's compliance heavy, but here's the secret. Because you are helping hospitals meet those exact regulatory steps, you secure highly predictable recurring service contracts that are practically recession-proof. Checking the investment ladder here, while elderly care requires a lower financial lift, around 30 to 40 lakh, compared to medical waste's 50 to 60 lakh, the source material makes a really critical point. The absolute foundation of the elderly care business is trust and reputation. You are caring for people's loved ones, so rigorous background checks and high service standards are your true capital. Hydroponic farming sits right in the middle there, at 40 to 50 lakh. Moving on to Section 4, Building Sustainable Urban Infrastructure. Dhaka is facing some massive systemic hurdles on a macro level right now. We're looking at climbing electricity costs, the very early stages of a massive transition to electric vehicles, an unending construction boom that needs specialized materials, and tragically, severe post-harvest food losses simply because the cold chain infrastructure just isn't there yet. The solutions here are definitely capital intensive, but they are incredibly high reward. Solar rooftop installation companies act as complete solution providers for commercial buildings starting around 40 to 50 lakh BDT. EV charging networks, which let you establish that early market leadership, start at 50 lakh plus. Manufacturing construction chemicals, like waterproofing for that building boom, runs 70 lakh to 1 crore. And finally, cold storage distribution hubs. Because these require so much capital, this is exactly the sector where founders should actively focus on attracting local venture capital and major angel syndicates to fuel rapid scaling. 1.5 crore BDT, or more. Yep, that is the estimated initial investment required to launch a cold storage and fresh food distribution hub. It's a massive number. Why is it so expensive? Well, you are investing in heavy refrigeration systems, serious warehouse infrastructure, and temperature-controlled transport. But it solves a massive national crisis. By preserving fruits, vegetables, meat, and fish throughout the supply chain, you are literally modernizing Bangladesh's food industry. Your revenue comes from storage fees, transport charges, and lucrative long-term contracts with major supermarkets and food processors. The long-term upside is just immense. And finally, Section 5, Executing Your Strategic Growth. Having a grand vision to solve Dhaka's urban problems is only step one, but execution, that's where most startups fail. This is exactly where consulting firms like Trade and Investment Bangladesh, or TNIB, bridge the gap. You bring the vision, and they provide the execution toolkit, everything from mentorship to IT development and digital marketing. TNIB isn't just a standard consultant. They really act as a strategic partner. And here's the crucial part. If you need to test market demand before committing a massive amount of capital, which, let's be honest, every smart founder should do, they can help set up targeted Google ads, build a professional website, and run proper commercial due diligence to validate your idea. They even handle buyer-seller matchmaking. They combine market insight with actual technology to ensure your startup doesn't just launch, but sustains its growth in Dhaka's dynamic economy. We've explored 10 future-proof opportunities today, from smart laundry to EV charging networks. The landscape is shifting rapidly, and the biggest rewards are waiting for those who focus on efficiently solving the real friction in people's lives. So I'll leave you with this provocative question to chew on. Which of Dhaka's urban challenges will your startup solve next? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll really hope this gives you the actionable roadmap you need to build something incredible.